What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Ante Up. I'm Howard Bender. I got a bunch of stuff going on here in the wonderful world of sports. Remember, folks, this is an all sports podcast. So while, yes, I know you're looking for your MLB waiver wire claims and you're looking for your dynasty fantasy football information, we cover it all here. So, this is more about, this is the two of us and dropping some knowledge on everything that we cover and deal with throughout. So we do have a fantasy baseball podcast over at fantasyalarm.com if you're looking for all of that. Adam also does the waiver wire article. I mean, sure, we could talk about it here. Why not? But, in any event, what's up, Adam? How are you, man?
Pretty good because I have fantasy sports and betting. The Mets have been depressing. So good thing I have other alternatives to try and spark some happiness in my life.
Yeah, dude, what's wrong with you guys? I mean, let's all right. The obvious here, first and foremost, is that your 1-2 pitching punch kind of turned to a little crap sandwich when Scherzer got tagged for the sticky stuff, and then he came back, and after a 10-game suspension, and suddenly now he's got neck pain or whatever. So there's got to be some concern on that front. Justin Verlander, you and I are recording here on Wednesday. So Justin Verlander will make his second start in Cincinnati coming up a little later on here in the day. So we don't have that to talk about. But, I mean, you guys aren't hitting. The pitching has been suspect at best. What's going on with you?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems right now. I mean, the starter's ERA has been horrendous during this extensive losing streak. This was a situation where they had a nice schedule where they should have taken advantage of. Colorado, Detroit, Cincinnati, Washington, and they've not only non-competitive in some of these games, they're just getting embarrassed. So the starter's ERA, I think over the last 14 games is 7. So that's a major problem. Scherzer clearly isn't 100%. He's trying to fight through it. They scratched him on Tuesday. He said he might pitch this weekend. My guess is he lands on the IL. They have to think long-term. Even as bad as things are now, and they do sit 7 games behind the Braves or 8 games behind entering Wednesday, but they need to have Scherzer healthy here. And we knew that was one of the concerns with the age and the pitching staff. Verlander in his first start was okay. He allowed 2 home runs in the first inning, settled down after that. And then the offense, which was my biggest concern coming into the year because they didn't really do anything to improve the offense. And yes, they won 100 games, and over the course of the season, the numbers were good, but if you're trying to win in the postseason, we saw it down the stretch in the tight games, the key games against the Braves, and then Padres wild card series, they just couldn't hit, and they don't have a lot of power. And, we were on the same page. I thought the Braves were the better team. Said it before the year. I thought they were the best team. We took them to win the World Series in the FSGA betting contest. I just think they're the better team. They have more power. They have more ways to beat you. I know they have some concerns right now with Max Fried on the IL with forearm soreness, and they're saying no Tommy John surgery, but he's not going to be out for a short period of time. So they have some concerns too, but that offense is so good. And that's the difference. They can beat you with the home run. And you saw it in the series last year, the last game of the series of the season. Braves were hitting home runs. Mets, if they didn't hit home runs, they were not scoring. So they have a lot of issues right now. David Peterson, I thought would be better. He came back up, wasn't good. Joey Lucchesi, come on, man. He had one good start against a shitty team. I guess it was the Giants. And, he can get beat up. So Senga has been okay, but he walks too many guys. He just doesn't have pinpoint control, and it prevents him from going deep into games. So, yeah, they just have a lot of issues right now. I'm hoping, it's early in the season. We saw the Phillies get off to a really bad start last year and then make a big run. But I do think there's concerns with this team right now. And it's just bad that they're getting beat by these bad teams. I know the Tigers are on fire right now. I don't know what happened, but Tigers are playing well. But still, it's no excuse, man. Those are games that you have to win. So, they have a couple hitters in the minor leagues teared it up. Alvarez has been good. He had 2 home runs on Tuesday. I look at the numbers for his framing has been good. So they called him up. He struggled early, but he's starting to pick it up. Beatty's been pretty good. Get some of these young guys up. Vientos down there in the minors is tearing it up. Bring them up, man. I'm tired of Vogelbach, Kana, all these shitty guys, man, that just have bad at-bats. Like last night, the Mets were rallying and the bases were loaded and Kana grounds into a double play. It's just Yeah, they definitely have some issues. I'm hoping, again, we know every team goes through struggles, and we see a lot of good teams right now not playing well at all. I mean, the Mets could be the Cardinals or the White Sox, both teams at 13 and 24. It's not that bad yet. They're 17 and 19, but man, they really have to start turning it around.
You're 17 and 19. You're 3 and 12 in your last 15. That's
against bad teams.
Really where it comes down to. I mean, I'm just looking and yeah, you're right. I mean, obviously, the pitching is definitely something that. Listen, the upside of Verlander and Scherzer, I mean, we'll have to see. Jim Bowden seems to be pretty down on Scherzer, very concerned about the possibility, because he struggled late last season also down the stretch. And then all of a sudden he comes back and it's the sticky stuff scandal and the suspension and all of that went down. But, Verlander, if he's healthy, if he comes back and he's good to go, it definitely gives you a little bit of stability there. On the offensive front, I'm blown away. One player on your team is hitting 300. One. And that's Brandon Nimmo at a flat 300 right now. You got McNeil at 280. You got Brett Beatty, who actually, brought his batting average up to 271. So, good for the kid on that front there. But Lindor 224, Alonso 237, Alvarez 241, and Starling Marte at 223.
Did you know, like, until the other day, they went like 22 straight games without scoring a run in the first inning?
I did not know that.
I tweeted out the other day. I was like, the Mets scored a run in the first inning for the first time since 2016.
Are you a Yerfy Nerfy better at all?
Once in a while. I think I've done it once or twice this year. So, I mean, it's tough. Like, you could look at all the data and you know how it is. Some of these aces come out and they don't have a good first inning and then they cruise the rest of the game,
Right.
So I'll look at it once in a while, but not a lot. I'm assuming you are not.
No, I'm not. I'm not really a Yerfy Nerfy better. I mean, you can look at it and say, all right, let's take a look at, the stats for certain teams, or let's take a look. And I'd be more inclined to bet a Yerfy than a Nerfy if one of the pitchers is just, complete hot trash. Like, I kind of figure at some point or another, you're looking at a situation where it pans out. But no, I mean, I think that it's you can deal with, some arbitrary shit. Take the Dodgers Milwaukee game that I just lost on today. I had the first 5 innings. I had the under 4. It was Kershaw against Miley. Kershaw, got a little banged up in his last outing, but Miley's been pitching very well. Dodgers terrible against left-handed pitching. Milwaukee even worse against left-handed pitching. So I went with the under for the first 5 innings, figuring these two, kind of square off, and it was 2-1 until we got into the top of the 4th, and all of a sudden Wade Miley got in trouble, and all of a sudden it went from like shit. Now it's Freddie Freeman up at bat, and it's 2 outs, so I can hope, but overall, not too good. Again, I feel like Yerfy Nerfy betting is I think there's a lot more luck to it than there is skill, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are certain trends you could look at and be like, oh, this pitcher is 5-0 on no runs first inning, and the opposing one is 4-1, and we know how that goes. So I think I might have done it once this year in one of my videos. So, but yeah, so I haven't done it recently. I might look at some data and see if something stands out. But yeah, I do think there's some element of luck to it. And there is in every aspect of sports betting, but maybe more so in that one. Because again, a pitcher might not have it in the first inning and give up a home run, a couple hits, and then settle down and not give up anything. So we often see that with the top aces. So yeah, I don't do it a lot. I mean, I'm more into the first 5 or game run line or spread totals and player props. Those are the things I look at more. I mean, one of the days I was filling in for you on that MLB Best Bets, I had Milwaukee first 5 money line. They were up 2, Giants tie it. Then in the 5th, the Brewers scored 2 runs to take a 6-4 lead. And then Corbin Burns gave up 3 in the bottom of the 5th. I was like, really, man? So I think the play was right. But hey, those things happen sometimes, unfortunately.
We could go with the that's baseball, Susan. That's
baseball, Susan.
That's a consistent drop on the fantasy alarm show.
Like, I know, and they actually played it on our show Tuesday night. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, reminds me of the podcast.
It's a fan favorite now. It really is. I mean, because listen, how else do you explain certain things? Like that's the funny thing, that people don't realize, or it's not so much that they don't realize. I think the casual bettor, the casual fan doesn't really understand the fact that when a 30% success rate is considered Hall of Fame level, like that's a big deal. I'm willing to bet. I think it is harder. You take any sport in there. I think it is much more difficult to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball than, I don't know, catching a pass in football. I mean, sure, if you're going up and, somebody's about to hit you or something like that, there's something there. But, when it comes to like an actual skill to advance the ball, I think baseball is easily the most difficult out there.
That and golf. And I don't play golf, but people will say that. But yeah, look, if anyone, just go stand in a batting cage facing a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, that's straight. You're going to be like, oh, shit. So there's no doubt about it. And now you're talking about almost everyone in the majors now, or not everyone, but especially the bullpen arms. They're all throwing 95 to 100. So they're not throwing straight most of the time. There's sliders, there's curves, there's changeups. It's insane, man. And I don't think people, when you see it on TV, you're like, oh, okay. You got to stand in the box or sit behind home plate. And then you realize, holy shit, this is insane.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that very few people really understand, I think. I mean, listen, yes, is football a physically taxing sport and the hitting? Of course it is. I'm just talking about, throwing a pass, catching a pass, versus trying to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, hitting a jump shot. Right. I mean, yeah, you can always throw in some mitigating circumstances that when you're trying to hit a jump shot, you've got these like big meaty paws in your face and slapping at you like that. But, listen, that's the name of the game there. I think if you're just hitting like a free throw, oops, piece of cake in comparison, unless you're Shaq.
Right. I mean, anyone could throw a ball up and it could bounce, Yeah. You can get the bounce, but trying to hit a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, yeah, good luck with that. A very small amount of the population can do that. And you probably either played high school, college ball, or had some background.
Yeah, not me. Strikeout king, step in the bucket, whatever you want to say. I'm almost legally blind in my left eye, and I'm right-handed. So like imagine growing up and hitting right-handed and not being able to even see the ball when it's coming at you. It was never good. I was a much better defensive player than I was an offensive player in baseball. And I'll leave it at that. Because maybe, who knows? Maybe I can play for the Mets. Nobody's hitting over there, so you might as well just bring in Bender. My Yankees taking a little bit of a turn here. We just swept the Oakland A's, which thankfully – something that we desperately needed, and Yankees are now 3 out of 4 with wins. They got a series coming up against Tampa that is going to be absolutely crucial. And I'll say this, man, you know what, with the way everything's going in baseball, my fantasy baseball season right now, I got to tell you, I'm pretty content with where I'm at in my leagues. I'm in 5th place in my Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational. I'm in 5th place in the Tout Wars Draft and Hold. I'm in 4th place in the FSGA League. Like I'm sitting there, I'm top 5, top 6. I think I'm in the Barf League. I'm like, that's the one league where I'm the lowest in there. But, definitely Definitely working out well. There's a lot of crazy shit going on in baseball, though. Like we were talking about it the other day on the show, and we were actually talking about building a segment about it. But I'm going to preview it here with you. Didn't see that coming. Is the name of the segment, and I guess it all kind of centers around Brent Rooker. I mean, this dude right now has just been absolutely like mind-numbing with what he's done, and I'm curious when you look at that, and you know what, even at the level that Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching right now, like certain things that I just didn't see coming. Brent Rooker, obviously one of them, and I didn't think Eduardo Rodriguez would be on this kind of a tear, even this early in the season. What about you? You looking at anything thinking, wow, this is fucked up. There's a lot of shit that's going on that I just didn't see it happening.
Yeah, definitely with Rodriguez. That was definitely the name I was going to bring up. I've always kind of liked him. He's kind of disappointed, but definitely didn't see that coming. I would say, I was not sure what to do with this guy, but my inclination was to stay away. Cody Bellinger, man. 7 homers, 9 steals, 291 average, 365 OBP. And my thinking was, hey, if the Dodgers don't want you back and they don't think they can turn you around, I think that's kind of a red flag. And Bellinger's been really good. And I just he was one of those players. There's always like a handful of players where I'm just not sure. In every sport, I'm like, I go back and forth. I'm like, okay, I see it here. I don't see it. And Bellinger was one of those guys. He's been really, really good. So
was that sound somebody swiping right on you?
No. I'm not on any dating apps. Stop.
I'm just fucking with you. Come on.
Okay. I would say another guy is Yandy Diaz. I know we spoke about him a few weeks ago, but we always knew he was good on base percentage. But the loft, the fly balls, the launch angle now, I mean, that to me is going to wind up being probably one of the best picks of the draft for where he went, because he's hitting atop the Rays lineup. So he's going to score a lot of runs. Now he's got power. He can hit for average, OBP. So that's been one of the surprises. You mentioned Brent Rooker for sure. I mean, 10 home runs, 313. Didn't see that coming. I was going to say, I mean, he's been a surprise, but I'm not surprised. It was just a matter of playing time. Josh Lowe from Tampa Bay. And I was able to pick him up in labor. I did draft him in an NFBC Draft Champions League. So that one was more about getting the playing time. I'd say, so those are some of the bats. On the pitching side, there's probably a lot more. Let me see pitching wise.
Well, let me just start with Mitch Keller. Can we just start with Mitch Keller?
Oh my God. The
sweeper pitch that a lot of guys are throwing, and we're seeing, top name pitchers who are also kind of throwing this new sweeper, which is like the new it pitch. Nestor Cortez of the Yankees is throwing it. I saw Yu Darvish and Shohei Ohtani. They were throwing it, but I mean, if you want to talk about like an impact about what adding this pitch has done, I think Mitch Keller is probably the poster child right now.
Yep. And this is the first year I don't have him. He's been a guy that I take every year.
Really? You take him every year?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it felt like that he had the stuff and, he just couldn't put it together. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out this year. And of course, this is the year that he's putting it all together and look really good, as the Pirates are one of those top stories right now in baseball. Who would have thought here on May 10th that the Pirates would be in first place and have a better record than the Mets? But that's the case. As we say, that's baseball, Susan. But yes, Mitch Keller has certainly been one of the biggest surprises. And I don't think there's anything fluky in what we've seen from him. It seems like this is something that is sustainable. Like, I wouldn't be looking to sell high on him at this point. I guess the one concern you would have, the Pirates are going to be a good team. Are they going to win games? I think they will come back a little bit, but I think there's enough here that he could, get some wins. He's got 4 already, ERA at 2.72. He's really limited the hard contact here. The walk rate is down. The K rate is way up. His xERA is 3.23. So yeah, I think this is sustainable. So I think that's definitely been one of the top value picks for sure. trying to see. We talked Justin Steele, I guess. He's been a really good pick. He went late.
I actually have shares of Justin Steele. I kind of dug him. He was going,
You didn't think he'd be a top 10 pitcher right now.
No. I didn't think he would be a top 10 pitcher right now. Right. I mean, no. I mean, come on. That's insane. I also didn't think that the fucking Yankees would be sitting in last place right now. So, what I'm saying, I was in on Justin Steele as a nice, like, late value pick, somebody who could, just be like a good, stable, like number 4 or 5 starter on my fantasy team. The fact that he's doing what he's doing right now is phenomenal, because that kind of helps along certain things. Like in a league where I have, Justin Steele kind of anchoring things, it's also because Sandy Alcantara sucks balls, and I lost Jeffrey Springs too. So, but I'm being held together because Justin Steele is doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, there are people like them late, but I mean, I think still what he's given you has definitely been, I don't think anyone saw this coming. You don't expect anyone outside of the top elite to sit here with a 1.45 ERA and a 0.95 WHIP. How about this guy? Wasn't drafted on any teams that I know of. So let's see if he's a reliever. He has a 0.17 WHIP, and he hasn't allowed a run, and he's only allowed, 3 hits? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I probably do, because I wrote about a particular relief pitcher from the American League East by the name of Yennier Cano.
Yeah, man, it is unbelievable, the numbers he is putting up. I mean, it's sick. And we know it's going to take an injury to Felix Bautista for him to close. And Bautista has been a little bit shaky lately with the walks. He walked 3. Mm-hmm. He walked 3, I think, yesterday, but got the 4-out save, or 2 days ago. So I don't think they're going to pull him from the role. But, man, Cano has just been – and we say it every year. There's always relievers that kind of come out of nowhere that put up numbers. But the numbers he is putting up now, and that's – with the starting pitchers that are getting blown up, I think you could put him, especially in a deep league. I don't mind putting him into the lineup, man. And you don't expect these dominant numbers to continue, but there's value in having him in your lineup. It's better to have him in for maybe 3 games in a given week than some of these shitty pitchers that are getting absolutely blown up.
Well, that's the thing. And, and I've said this time and time again, if you're going to make these late round picks, and try and get these potential closers in waiting, you got to get a guy who is going to help you with strikeouts and your ratios right now. It's a guy who is at least going to be productive on your roster. And I'm not even talking about, you're not using them in like a weekly lineup league. You're probably, unless you're like absolutely desperate, but in like in a league where you can make daily roster moves, like Cano is like, the ideal guy to kind of move in and out of that, of your active roster, because they're using him. He's pitching beautifully. The strikeout rate is absolutely spectacular. It's great. I've actually, so here my article in the New York Post on May 7th, 2023. Keep an eye on Yennier Cano to grab Orioles closer role. And that was, I talked about the fact that, Bautista has had some shaky moments, that he's walking guys too much over his 4 outings, right, leading right up until I wrote that article. Bautista had walked 6 batters and given up 2 hits and a run. And, it was like, if you're looking at a team that, Baltimore's second in the AL East right now behind Tampa Bay, they've got some great shit going on over there. You can't be giving away games late, and you can't be allowing a guy like Bautista to put runners on base at that point. The only thing I think holding Cano back is that he's so good that why wouldn't you just put him, instead of just saying, damn, he's my closer, be like, listen, anywhere from the sixth through 9th inning when we're winning, any tough spot, Cano's got to be the guy.
Yeah, and I think that's what, multiple innings too. And Bautista, it's really the walks that are hurting him. And he did have a 9.1% walk rate last year, but he's striking out so many guys. He has a 40.5% strikeout rate. His xERA is 2.59. He's in the 100th percentile of whiff percentage, 88th percentile of barrel percentage. So the walks have not come back to hurt him just because he's been so dominant. And I don't see them making a change, but you want to have the next man up. And we know in most competitive leagues, almost every setup man that's in line for a closer gig is rostered. And again, Cano has kind of value right now with the way he is just dominating. I mean, those numbers are sick. They're sick. And that's why, there's always relievers that come out of nowhere. No one was talking about Cano before the year.
No, I mean, he was crap for Minnesota. He had an 11 ERA in 13 appearances for the Twins last year. And they were like, bye-bye. We got to set you down. So, obviously something like that, totally out of the blue. That's a tough one to catch lightning on. Matt Chapman. How about Matt Chapman leads the American League in both doubles and batting average right now?
The batting average is absolutely a surprise. Mm-hmm. I thought he'd have a better year. He's always been a guy that makes a lot of hard contact. I'm trying to remember, if I do have him, it's only one league. So I'm not saying he was a target of mine, but I thought he would bounce back, a second year with the Blue Jays. I figured the power to be there, but not the average. So yeah, you don't expect Matt Chapman to give you batting average. That's the one thing. You knew the power could be there. We've seen some big years with Oakland. So I'm not surprised at the power in the ribbies, and a lot of the StatCast numbers are really good for him. But the 349 average, I don't see it lasting. But he is making insane hard contact right now. The strikeout rate too is, the best in 4 years. He was over 30% 2 years in a row, 27.4 last year, 24.8 this year. So it's dropped a little, and his walk rate has always been good the last 3 years. It's always been a double-digit range. So yeah, he's just tearing it up right now. Here's one. Actually, I found a couple more bats. Taylor Walls, man. I know he doesn't play every day, but holy shit. 6 homers, 6 steals, 365 OBP. I actually have him in my home league. It is daily. It sucks though, because he doesn't play every day.
Didn't he do this last year too? Came up for
did it this.
When he got called up, he was impressing everybody. He was huge on waivers. Everyone was going nuts on him. And then he slipped back and he fell back into a lame side of the platoon.
Yeah. Did he have a stretch like this though? Because his overall numbers last year were pretty bad. I don't remember if he had a stretch this good, but
you know what, man? I see. That's what I love about the internet is that I can go back and I can look and see what his game log looked like last year. Because I think that's a very telling thing, because I think if he's available in your league,
holy shit, yeah, he had a stretch last year. It looks like July. Oh no, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Nah. Yeah, I don't know. I remember him for his overall numbers suck last year. I don't see a ridiculous stretch. Scanning this real quickly. Yeah, I don't think so, because his overall numbers were pretty bad last year.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there was anything anywhere where he really kind of beefed up, but no, I don't see anything there.
Razor.
So, I don't know, maybe that's.
I know another guy. I mean, I did take him late. I have him in tout orders, but he's been pretty good. TJ Friedel.
Yeah, I would. You know what? Him and Jake Fraley were two guys who were just super late round targets for both of us in this offseason, just because we knew that he was going to get the playing time.
Yeah, I took him, and I know I have him in tout orders. I think I have him in the NFBC Online Championship. Fraley, I only wound up getting in labor. I had to bench him this week because he was dealing with a little bit of a back issue. You have to, in a week league too, you have to see if the lefties are on the mound. They play Friedel more against left-handed pitching. Fraley, they really don't. But good ballpark, opportunity to play. So yeah, those were a couple of reasons why I was looking at him.
Yeah.
Here's one.
By the way, Taylor Walls last year, first month of the season, played 16 games, had a home run, 6 runs scored, 2 RBI, but he had 4 stolen bases and was batting .256. So in a year where everybody was like, I need stolen bases, this dude had 4 in the first month and people jumped all over him. The rest of the way, dog shit.
Yeah.
Did not bat 200 for a month for the rest of the way of the season. His highest monthly batting average last year was 188, where he got into 20 games, had 81 plate appearances in the month of July. Taylor fucking Walls, everybody.
Yeah, the Tampa. I mean, they got so many guys who should be playing more, and they just can't get everyone in with Lowe, Margot, and all these guys, and Walls, and wow, it's just they're loaded.
There was a guy. Do you listen to WFAM while you're out there?
Not as much anymore now.
The guy Evan Roberts, I guess was his name.
I know him. Yeah.
Okay, so he apparently said that he accused the Rays of cheating.
Yeah, I saw the headline. I didn't see the reasoning why, but
Yandy Diaz with 9 home runs, Taylor Walls with 6 home runs. Their pitching has just been
they've been doing this for
unhittable.
Years, though. Like the Rays are like one of the most well-run teams. They take guys from other organizations. They're not the only team doing this too. The Dodgers do this, right? How many times do we go, oh, that team took a player, I'm interested. So like, why? Because they're off to this phenomenal start. What's the other proof? I mean,
I hate it. I thought what Robert said was dog shit, and I was like, really? Like, is that because that's the world in which we live? Like, you can't possibly be doing well without cutting some corners right now, right? You have to be cheating in some fashion or another. I hate it. I hate that's what everybody turns to now, and we're kind of conditioned with that, because between the steroid era and then the spider tax stuff that went down, last year that MLB has been cracking down on so much, like that's everybody's go-to right now. They can't just appreciate a strong organization doing great things with not a lot of components. I mean, come on.
Randy Arozarena always had the talent, and they acquired from the Cardinals. I mean, we've seen him in the WBC, in the playoffs, come up big in clutch spots. I mean, he was a target for me. I loved him in round 3. I didn't get him in as many leagues as I want. I kept him in my home league, which is actually one of my worst leagues this year, bro. I dominate that league, and my team is just fucking not that good. I'm not ready to. I know there's guys in my league that listen to the podcast, and they're like, "Oh, is he thinking about rebuilding?" No, not yet. Not yet. It sounds
like Adam's tanking.
Yeah. So our guy, Marty from Canada.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think you probably. Well, I know he listens, and he's in fucking first place. So. I'm not inviting him to the leagues anymore.
Good job, Marty.
Nah, fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh, fuck you, Rose.
And he likes when I curse, too.
He's such a crybaby.
He likes when I curse, too. He said there was not enough cursing in that podcast the other day. I expect you to make up for it next week. So, fuck you, Marty. You like that? How about that now?
So, you're a total sore loser, aren't you?
I'm not a sore loser. I fucking hate losing, man. You know that. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. I can't stand losing. I said this to someone the other day. It could be, I don't make 25 cents bets, but say I did. I don't want to fucking lose it. Okay, wow, you lost a quarter. No, I don't like losing. So, but back to the Rays. Wander Franco, I think we were both on the same page. We weren't buying him this year. We look like idiots right now.
Such idiots.
Right? I mean, he always had the pedigree. He had the talent. He's young, but we just never really saw the power. 7 homers, 9 steals, hitting .310. So you got him. But see, we were wrong because we were like, well, we want to see it. But is it a surprise he's doing this? No, he's been one of the top prospects in baseball. This, so it's not like, oh, this shit came out of nowhere. And with Yandy Diaz, it's like, we knew he's a good hitter. It's just like, well, he just pounds the ball on the ground. He doesn't hit fly balls. We've seen multiple players over the years change their swing path, launch angle, and hit home runs. The dude is jacked. It's not that surprising. He made a change there. So, where Josh Lowe struggled last year. How many times do we see prospects come up and struggle? He's made adjustments, and now he's good. I mean, we knew he had the talent. So, where on this team are we like, oh, this came out of nowhere? I don't get it.
Who's the hitting coach for the Rays?
I don't even know offhand.
Because, I mean, got to give credit where credit's due.
To the whole coaching staff and this whole organization, man. I want their fucking GM for the Mets.
Let's see. What do we got? Hitting coach is Chad Mottola. I don't know. Chad
Yeah.
Mottola, assistant hitting coach Dan Dement, assistant hitting coach Brady North. I mean, I'm not seeing I don't see any big names over here at all. So you gotta love that. Yeah, I mean
and I didn't see this. So there was an article March 4th about Tampa Bay's hitting philosophy. And it just talked about how the team is changing.
Where's that article?
The TampaBay.com. So by Mark Tompkin, it says the team is changing the approach and maybe even a bit of the philosophy used by the hitting coaches. Wow. About much of the talk in the cages this spring has been about seeing the baseball, which isn't only about vision, but being comfortable, relaxed, and prepared in the batter's box. So making better decisions about what pitches are best to get a good swing at, rather than the mechanics of like bat, path, swing plane, and launch angle. Well, it's working.
Yeah.
And look, they're pitching, man. Like, look, they bring Drew Rasmussen comes over from Milwaukee. He's good. You know, obviously we know Tyler Glasnow wasn't great with Pittsburgh. He comes over, he's fucking dominant. Obviously, he's not been healthy, but yeah, man, it's just a well-run organization. Yeah, I hated that claim too, man. You know, like, again, pinpoint to me where all these untalented hitters are all good all of a sudden. Like, they all were either top prospects that struggled or made a change, or, you know, were acquired from another organization and have delivered. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I hate that bullshit, man. And you would be like, as a Yankee fan, you would be like, oh, I'm buying into it. But, you know, you're subjective here. I mean, like, come on, man. It's just so Tampa Bay is always, dude, they made the World Series several years back and they never spend.
I'm subjective. I've been objective about this.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I mean. Like, you could, as a Yankee fan, you could have been like, yeah, they are cheating. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta look at it and be like,
check his glove up. Check his glove.
Like, I just don't see anything here that I look at and go, oh yeah, something's not right here. And look, maybe we're proven wrong and there's like this big scandal, but I think to me, that's just trying to get a headline. And it's obviously worked because people are fucking talking about it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that all of a sudden, all it takes, where there's smoke, there's fire, and all it takes is for one person to turn around and make that stupid comment, and that's the legs. It's all the legs that it's going to need for that. But yeah, I mean, listen, no, you can tell, like, there are certain things, like you and I both in on Shane McClanahan this year. Both of us talking about him as far as like Cy Young. We know the talent level there. I think we both drifted towards Zach Eflin once he went from the Phillies to the Rays. You were like,
I was drafting him when he was on the Phillies. I've had him a lot over the last.
I had him on the Phillies too, but like he became a target when he went to the Rays,
and he was a late pick. I mean, it didn't cost much, so
it didn't cost anything.
Yeah, no, look, I think you have to look at that. We talking about in football with coaching and systems. Like, there's certain organizations that know what they're doing, and if they're acquiring a player on the cheap, or they're taking on someone in another organization who didn't pan out, you have to take note. I mean, it did burn me a little bit with Noah Syndergaard, but I should have fucking known the velocity's not there. But I'm like, hey, the Dodgers are taking a chance on him, and obviously that has not worked out. But the Dodgers are one of those organizations, the Rays, the Giants with pitching. You see with some of the pitchers that have come there. Look how good Alex Cobb is right now. And I know he kind of underperformed his metrics the last couple of years, but I still went back to Cobb. He's been good. DeSclafani, I know, I get DeSclafani the other night gave up 5 runs and 7 hits in the first inning, but that he wound up getting to the 6th inning without giving up much more. That is the fucking man. How many of these guys fucking do that in the first, second inning, they're done and they inflate your ERA? That stat line was not as bad as it could have been. So at least he stayed in there. But yeah, there's just certain organizations, and Tampa Bay is right at the top of the list. So I just hated hearing that. And that's why I didn't really look into it, because I don't know. Did you hear the whole thing? Did you hear the rant? Did you see anything? Like, what was his reasoning for it?
Oh, no, I saw the headline and I was like, I'm not even going to dignify this.
Yeah, I didn't. Me too.
It doesn't even matter what he's saying. It's just that he's accusing them of some sort of impropriety, as opposed to just appreciating what they're bringing to the table right now.
Here's the crazy part about them too, right? You would say they have no home field advantage, correct?
Right. Yeah. No fans. Nobody goes to those games.
They're 19-3 at home.
Yeah.
And look, we know they're going to cool off, right? This can't continue. I mean, they're going to go through a losing streak. The division is so tough. I mean, every team in that division is 4 games above 500. Every team. So, it's not going to be easy. You mentioned that you got the Yankees coming up. I guess they're staying in New York for like 6 days because I think they play the Mets in Citi Field early next week. So, yeah, look, this team, I know they haven't won the World Series yet, right? They haven't won. They lost that year they got there, right? To the Phillies?
Yes.
They haven't won yet. So, but still, man, they're a model organization, man. I kind of hope they do win a World Series, as long as it's a year that the Mets don't make it, which is probably every year anyway.
It's amazing, though. I'll tell you what, though, it's kind of amazing with the transformation that the Rays have made, because, like, I mean, I don't know, who on this podcast or listening to this podcast, like, really remembers when the Rays first came into the league, and they were having all sorts of issues. They had all these great draft picks, but the picks that they were making, I mean, there were some bad players in there. Hyped players that just, horrible character, maybe had some talent that, like, I'm thinking about guys like, remember Delman Young?
Yeah.
Elijah Dukes.
Yep. I was just going to mention him.
They've had a string of players that, were just, their farm system was rated highly, but if you looked at the performance and you looked at the character, I mean, it was just dog shit. And then somewhere in like somewhere around the turn of the century, things kind of shifted for them. And I'm very curious to see, like, to like dig in. Maybe we have Jason Collette join us on the podcast here and get the rundown here for the Rays and really like where it kind of turned around for them, because it's been great to watch that organization. On the contrary, how about an organization that's been shit in the bed so much that you're pulling your hair out? Hello, St. Louis.
Oh my goodness.
What
man.
the fuck?
Yeah, bro. I don't know what's going on. And they were the heavy favorites to win the division. Yeah. I thought they had one of the better lineups top to bottom in baseball. And man, it's just been brutal. I mean, the pitching is really a problem. Jack Flaherty sucks. Matz, Michaelis is okay, but hittable. They just got Wainwright back. They just don't have the pitching right now. And then these decisions and the situation with Wilson Contreras, sending Jordan Walker down, Tyler O'Neill on the IL. I wonder if he really has a back injury, or we know him and Marmol clearly don't see eye to eye. I mean, look, there's way to handle things. And Marmol took it to the media with Tyler O'Neill. If you remember, Javier Baez didn't hustle this year, and it was done behind the scenes. Took him to the back, talked to him, and what happened? Baez has turned it around and is on fire. So the way you handle things with people is a big deal. And I'm not saying that whole incident with O'Neill was a big reason why, but I don't like doing that in the media. He should have dealt with O'Neill behind the scenes. You could clearly see there's some tension there between those two. And there's probably more underlying things, but this is embarrassing. I mean, they're 13-24, last place in this division. I mean, I don't think anyone saw this coming.
No, I don't think anybody saw it coming at all. And it's just, to me, I'm just, watching it unfold in just horrific fashion, like really horrific fashion, because it's like, I mean, you're looking at it and, I'm thinking about it, even just not even in a baseball stance, but from a fantasy standpoint here. I mean, I can look at it in both directions, but like the big issue that I've got right now and wondering is, you've got Contreras, who has just, if you can't have him behind the plate because he can't call a game, and defensively he's just not where he should be. And I think that's really what it is. It's just the fact that, that he just doesn't call a good game. And the pitchers are so used to Yadier Molina that, this has been a problem. But what's going to happen here is that if Contreras is going to be fucking DHing because you just paid that dude, $80 million for 5 years, well, then somebody's going to suffer. And like, where does that suffering happen? Nolan Gorman was supposed to be their DH. because they prefer Brendan Donovan's defense at second base. But now you're going to have to work those guys into a platoon. I know Donovan can, move out to the outfield while Tyler O'Neill is on the IL, but still, you're just looking in a very sketchy spot here from a fantasy standpoint, because they've just got too many guys, and none of them are performing with any kind of consistency.
Yeah, it definitely hurts. I mean, Gorman's a guy that they really can't take out of the lineup right now. They'll sit him against lefties, but he's kind of got to play. Arenado's gotten off to a horrendous start. I know he had multiple home runs in a game the other day, but he's been bad. Carlson, Nootbaar, Burleson, who's cooled off. But yeah, they have a lot of guys, and moving Contreras to the DH is a real problem, because that means someone loses playing time. And, people are probably still holding on to Jordan Walker, hoping he gets the call up again. But they're probably going to have to make a trade. They're going to have to move one or two of these bats. They really need pitching. It's amazing that they've been able to have success with the pitching they've had over the last couple of years, but it's a problem right now. They just don't have guys that get a lot of strikeouts. And almost every pitching staff has guys that get Ks, but they don't, man. I mean, just a lot of contact being made against these pitchers.
Yeah, and it's not exactly the staff that you want pitching to contact. Oh man, so unbelievably frustrating. But listen, that's I'm not going to say that's baseball, Susan. That's just, you have to look and see. And the question is how long of a leash do you give before you start, kind of making those adjustments? I mean, I have Wilson Contreras in a couple of spots, and it doesn't really affect me in fantasy because he's going to keep, they're going to keep DHing.
It's actually, better for him. He's going to less wear and tear if he's not catching. So from a fantasy perspective, it's good for Contreras.
He's the only one that it's good for. I'm sitting here holding Jordan Walker in a bunch of spots. They definitely need to. And again, I don't like Ollie Marmol. I don't think he's a decent manager. You talked about the fact that he brings it out to the public, and that's just, you don't want to air the dirty laundry. But for the same token, they're also like, why are you fucking sending down Jordan Walker, who's outperforming every other outfielder on your team? He's outperforming almost every other player on your team, with the exception of Paul Goldschmidt. What are you doing there? Like, to me, you know what that was? That was not only was that Marmol just being just an idiot, but that's John Mozeliak turning around and being like, this team's a fucking problem right now, and I'm gonna send Walker back down and leave him in there until I get that extra year of eligibility for him, and then I'll pull him back up, and we'll sort things out then. And I think that was just a shit move, like, overall. When you see, and listen, I mean, I shit move from a fantasy standpoint. If you're a Cardinals fan, you're obviously frustrated, but you're like, yeah, you know what? Mozeliak's making the right move here, in the sense of, you do want to keep Walker, for an extra year of control. You don't want to let that go. And if you've got these guys who are just starting off like dog shit, why drag the kid down even further?
Yeah, and they're kind of fortunate as well that, as bad as they're playing, they're only 7.5 out of first place. And there's really no one that you feel fearful of running away with this, right? I mean, as great as the Pirates story is, do we really buy into them? And they're 1-9 in their last 10 games. So, and they lost again on Wednesday afternoon. So, and the Brewers, they have issues. They're 2-8 in their last 10. So the Cardinals, would it be surprising? Now I'm starting to think, should I look at the Cardinals division odds and bet on it? But no, I mean, look, again, it's hard to buy into them. Now they have won 3 in a row going into Wednesday to put them at 13-24, which is still bad. But I think that's the one thing. This division is not, I don't see anyone running away with it. Whereas if you're in the NL East, the Braves are fucking good. You have to worry about them really running away with it, even though they have some injuries to the pitching staff, but they're legit. The AL East, you really have to worry about falling too far behind because there's so many good teams. But in a lot of these other divisions, like as bad as Houston has been, and Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy, they're 500. They're only 3.5 out of first. So there's a lot of these teams. I mean, I don't know about the White Sox though. They're another disappointing team. They're probably the AL version of the Cardinals, I guess. 13-24 as well. 6.5 out though. But yeah, they've been pretty bad, man. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of these divisions are still. Because I know it's only early May, but no one really feels completely out of it yet.
No, they don't. They don't. All right, I'm looking at some division winner futures. You ready?
Yeah. What are the Cardinals?
All right, here we go. Cardinals are plus 350.
Fuck you, man. Plus 350?
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's not yeah, man. So see, they're thinking the same way I am. I thought that's a shitty number for a team that's 13-24.
Brewers are minus 150.
Oh.
Cardinals are plus 350. Cubs are plus 600. Pirates are plus 700. Reds are plus 6,000.
Damn. Oh man, that's not a good. What are the White Sox?
The White Sox
gotta be better
plus 950 to win that division now.
Yeah.
Guardians. The Guardians are still a plus 200 second favorite.
Yeah, because they're not buying the Tigers, but I guess they're not buying the Twins either. Twins have some good pitching though, man.
Twins are minus 165. Guardians are plus 200. White Sox plus 950. Tigers plus 2,200. Royals plus 20,000.
What AL East? That's the interesting one. I bet you they're all plus 300. No, the Red Sox are probably the worst, I would think.
The Red Sox are the worst at plus 2,800. You are correct.
What? Plus 2,800?
Yep.
Wow. Holy shit. I mean, I get it. The other teams are better, but yeah, they are 8 out. So the Yankees
see if you can guess the rest of the AL East.
I mean, the Rays clearly are 1. I'm going to say minus 180.
170.
Okay. I would say second is, man, it's the betting market. They can't have the Yankees second. I'm going to say Blue Jays are second.
Mm-hmm. They are plus 380.
That is interesting. I know they're 7.5 out, but okay. I'm gonna. Damn, Yankees, Orioles. The problem with the Yankees is that they're a public team, but I also think there's a lot of public outcry that this team is not good and has issues. Now they are going to get Severino back shortly. They'll get Stanton back. You figure they just got Judge back. You figure they're going to make a deal. I'm going to say the Yankees are over the Orioles.
Yankees are over the Orioles. They're plus 475. Orioles plus 1,700, actually.
Whoa.
Which I find very interesting. I would love to see, I guess because the problem is that as good as this offense can be, and this offense can definitely be good, I just don't see Mike Elias really investing in that frontline ace that they need.
And that you hit it on the head. That is the problem. Number one, they don't have an ace, and the pitching staff, a lot of question marks. Tyler Wells, he doesn't scare you as decent as the numbers have been. Grayson Rodriguez has not been great. I mean, Kyle Gibson, okay, he's been all right, but really, do we trust him? So Kyle Bradish, that is the problem, man. As good as they're playing, so I'm not surprised that the number is that because you just can't buy into this pitching. So the Yankees, again, this is like every sport, the Cowboys in football, the Lakers in basketball. Like I remember last year, I was like, how are the Lakers top? They were at one point early in the season, maybe January, top 4. And I'm like, because it's a liability for the books. They dropped that number 2-4 and you're seeing it now, right? You know, the Lakers, all of a sudden, they're the favorites in the Western Conference. I think Denver maybe passed them though. I think with Denver winning because I believe. But for a moment on Tuesday before Denver won, the Lakers were the favorite to come out of the West. And that's why the number early in the year, the books can't put the Lakers down too far because you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So it's the same with the Yankees. They just have that reputation. And if you put the Yankees at ridiculous odds, money's going to flood in on them. So that's why I figured they were ahead of the Orioles, even with some of the issues they have right now. But again, they'll get healthier and they still have better pitching, just Garrett Cole alone.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. For the
record, I can't
record,
believe that plus 350 on the Cardinals, man. See, I guess they're thinking the same way I am, because I was ready to hop on a like ridiculous odds numbers, and
right, yeah, you give it to me at like plus 750, and I'm like, ooh,
yeah, then I'm intrigued. I mean, because you clearly see the number, they don't believe in the Pirates at all, and I don't think anyone does. It's been a great story.
Not anybody who doesn't have a Pittsburgh area code or zip code in their address.
Right, yeah, and it's just, you look at this division and you're just like, okay, well, that's why the Cardinals can really turn this thing around, man. They really can. This division is absolutely something that they can win, because it's not that good.
Not that good, definitely. Just to kind of round it out, let's go to the AL West. Even money for the Astros to win.
That's interesting.
Rangers are plus 280. Mariners 475. Halos are at 500. And
the A's off the board.
50,000, dude. 50,
Please don't even put a quarter on that, guys.
Not even. In the National League, we talked about the Central already. The East, Braves at minus 475, Mets plus 600.
Wow, damn, minus 475. Shit.
That's depressing if you're a Mets fan, I think.
Well, not surprising. So basically, the Braves are plus 62 in run differential. Every other team in the division is negative.
Yeah.
The Mets, you said, a plus 475. What is Philly?
No, Mets are plus 600.
Oh.
Phillies are plus 1,200. Miami plus 3,500. Nats are plus 40,000.
I got to say, the Nats are better than I thought. They've been really competitive. They've been hanging in there. I mean, they're only 6 under 500.
Yeah, I'm still in on the. I was still in on the under for.
I know that, but remember we were having a discussion like who could be worse, Oakland and Washington.
Oakland or the Nats? Yeah,
and I think I said Oakland, but the Nationals have been a lot better than I thought. Mackenzie Gore's been solid. Josiah Gray's been pretty good. Corbin has actually not been getting blasted lately. They've played a lot better than I thought.
They've definitely played a lot better than I thought, without a doubt. 15 wins right now. That's probably gonna eventually it'll kind of wear off. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah. I got to give them credit. They've been kind of fun to watch too.
Yeah. Holy shit! Who'd have thought that? St. Louis has the 4th lowest win total right now, at 13,
and they're plus 350 to win the division.
Isn't that mind-numbing right there? Or is that 3rd lowest? 13. 10 wins for the Royals, 8 wins for the A's.
White Sox also have 13, so tied for 4th, right? Because A's 8, Royals 10, and Cardinals 13, White Sox 13.
Yeah.
Jeez. Damn, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 10 teams 500 or better in the AL. And in the National League, there's only 3, 4, 6.
Very, very interesting.
But as they say, it's a long season. We'll be having this discussion in September. Be like, hey, remember when the Cardinals were in last and now they're up in the division by 5? We told you to.
Right, we told you to take him at plus 350. Sprinkle something on that shit.
Actually, no. We said no. That wasn't it. We wanted it at plus 800, and the book screwed us.
You'll find that on the Cash It's Greatest Hits album.
Real quick. AL Cy Young, is Garrett Cole favored? I haven't looked at this stuff. I'm gonna look it up too.
I'm going to it right now. Here you go.
Cole and McClanahan.
Garrett Cole plus 250, Ohtani plus 450, McClanahan at plus 700.
Okay, yeah, I figured it. We got McClanahan plus 1100 in that FSGA, right?
I believe we did. Yes,
I think it was plus 1100. We had him at.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year, Yoshida. We had Volpe, right? He's plus.
We had Volpe, yep, who has the 3rd best. Yoshida at plus 120, Josh Young at plus 500, Volpe at plus 800.
Yeah, MVP Ohtani's favored minus 105, Trout plus 800.
We did take Corbin Carroll and Jordan Walker for Rookie of the Year in that league. Outman is the number 1 guy with plus 135. Carroll is plus 210. Your boy Brett Beatty at plus 700.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully, if we get McClanahan at one of the Rookie of the Years, I think I don't know if that's enough. Obviously, it depends on what everyone else has, but it would be nice.
It would be nice. Another ring, wouldn't that be just yummy delish?
When we won 3 or 4 bets. I know we had Chase Rookie of the Year, Parsons Rookie of the Year. I think we won 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think because we had like a couple of over-unders also.
Yeah, so that would be nice.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? It certainly would. All right. Well, damn, time flies when you're having fun, when you're having a good discussion here. Before we scooch on out of here, any thoughts that you got about, I don't know, maybe the Florida Panthers up 3-0 on the
what the fuck, bro?
On the Toronto Maple Leafs? Or
look, I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but they were on the precipice of missing the playoffs. I think they needed Pittsburgh to lose to get in. They get in. They're down 3-1 in the first round to the Bruins, who had the best season ever, most points. They come back and win. And now Toronto, who we know chokes every year. I know they had a good team and some people thought they could go this year, but I was telling Josh Wagner, I'm like, dude, really? You're banking on Toronto? I'm not the biggest hockey guy, and I know don't fucking rely on Toronto. They're going to fucking choke somehow. It's crazy, man. Like, it's insane in hockey how this shit happens, man.
Well, you get a hot goaltender, can carry you through the playoffs, and that's exactly what's going on right now with the Panthers. I mean, they're playing good defensive hockey. There's nothing flashy about them. There's nothing spectacular about them. They're playing good defensive hockey. They're countering when they need to counter. And their goalie is standing on top of his fucking head doing shit. It's crazy.
Real quick, some news on the Braves. It looks like Max Fried and Kyle Wright are each expected to miss at least 2 months.
Wow.
Doesn't matter. They'll figure that shit out.
Wow. That just got a little sun started shining a little brighter for you, didn't it, Adam?
Yeah, sure. Uh-huh. Fuck out of here.
Your team still lost 3 out of its last 15, or won 3 out of its last 15 only.
Yeah, the thing is, the Braves can overcome it. You know, I mean, I know Schuster hasn't been great so far and Dodd, but, you know, maybe they work with them, they come up and they're good. Whereas the Mets, yeah, okay, we get like these fucking retreads. So, no, it doesn't make me feel better at all.
All right. Hoops treating you okay?
Yeah, props have been pretty good lately. Obviously, Lakers so close to making the conference finals, which I know is not good for you because you hear from Jim Bowden every day.
Oh no, you know. Here's so little reverse psychology here, and it works. And I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know if Jim listens to this podcast at all, but I'm going to reveal, a little thinking there. I started the show yesterday talking about how the Lakers are now minus 500 to just win this series. And I said, I was talking to Corey Parson. We were shooting a show for Better Sports Network. And I said to Corey, I was like, because he says that, anything can still happen and blah, blah, blah. And, you got to respect the Warriors and you got to respect the history of them, winning championships and, stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, you can, but let's face facts. You could say LeBron and Steph Curry sort of, cancel each other out to a certain degree. I mean, it's superstar. And then what's the supporting cast? The linchpin is fucking Anthony Davis. Right. And the Warriors they don't have a big man to square up against Davis. They don't have a big man to push him around in the paint. And Davis is having his way in 3 out of the 4 games. And so, Corey was like, oh, you're relying on old rickety Anthony Davis, the most hurt guy ever, to do this for the next 3 games. And I was like, no. I said, you're only looking for him to do it once more. It doesn't, like 1 out of 3, you just need a big game or a solid game from Anthony Davis. And the Warriors aren't going to be able to last. You're telling me that the Warriors are suddenly going to figure something out to shut down AD over the next 3 games to win this series? I don't see that happening at all. So I started saying that on the show. And all of a sudden, like Jim, who I've learned lately is incredibly superstitious, has suddenly backed off a little bit. And he's suddenly becoming something. He's sort of coming back down to earth. It's not like, Cowboys are 5-1 through the first 6 games of the season, and Jim's like, they're going to the Super Bowl, they're winning it all. Now all of a sudden, when I start pumping up that the Lakers are going to, just breeze through the rest of this, and here we go, he's just like, well, I don't know, the Warriors are really good, this and that, and I was like, it's the best way to shut him up.
Well, this Warriors team is not what it has been. And I think it's been clear all year. They've been mediocre. They don't play well on the road. They've done a good job of defending Curry. Game 1, they double teamed him, forced him to pass, and then Poole misses the 3. So, yeah, they have issues too. The Warriors are trying to figure things out. They've played Kevon Looney less. They've started Gary Payton. They've started JaMychal Green. Like, they're trying to figure things out. They don't have an answer for Davis. It's not like LeBron's blowing up and scoring a ton of points. They got a great performance from Lonnie Walker in the fourth quarter with 15 points in game 4. The Lakers defense has been really good. Look, would I be surprised if the Warriors came back from 3-1? No, I don't think it's going to happen, man. This is just not the same team that it was. The Lakers defense has been really good. I would expect Golden State to win game 5 at home, but I don't know if they're going to win game 6 in LA. I just think the Lakers defense has been really good, and the Warriors have had issues. I mean, even the first round, 7 games in Sacramento, and they won on the road only because Curry had one of the best game 7s we ever seen with 50 points. So right. I think I don't see the Warriors coming back. Would I be surprised? No, because you never want to count Curry out and Clay and the pedigree these guys have, but it's not the same. And I think Jordan Poole has been horrendous in this series, man. And you wonder if that incident with Draymond Green early in the year, I think it has had a lingering effect. I know it's like, oh, why are you pointing it out now? Like, he was kind of feisty with the media. I mean, I don't care who you are. If someone punches you in the face like that and it comes out, it's got to bother you and it's got to eat at you. So I think that might have been a slight issue. Maybe we hear about it after. But I get why people are like, oh, Warriors down 3-1. We've seen this before. And people are like, well, LeBron was in this situation and came back. Now it's Curry's chance to get back at it. But I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either. And the more I say stuff like that, the less Jim becomes a cheerleader. So,
well, if the Lakers do win Wednesday night, it's going to be a fun Thursday show for you.
Me. I'll just use it. I'll just use penalty flags and we'll go from there. Oh, man. All right. Well, so that's going to do it for us here today. Great show. As always, Adam, always great to hang out with you and shoot the shit. Anything
we
people
can
need to know?
I know. There's no doubt. We could probably do an 8-hour podcast and it'd feel like
I could legit sit here and just bullshit for another 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Someone's probably gonna be like, hey, can you guys do a 4-hour podcast one day?
Just a marathon podcast, 24 hours straight of Bender and Ronis. I don't know if people can handle that.
Yeah, raise money for charity.
We could definitely do that. You want to do it? You tell me. You put it down there on the schedule. We can do it.
All right, maybe not 20. No one's going to listen 24 hours, man, to a podcast. Unless they break it up over a week and then, so maybe more like 4, 5, 6.
Oh, you're just automatically cutting it down now.
No, I'm saying
you weren't even like I'll half it to 12.
As much as you like someone, would you really listen to them for 24? I mean, I guess there's on one hand you could count, right? Like someone you would listen to for 24 hours. Like you'd have to be like the biggest fan of them.
Yeah, probably.
Like it would have to be.
You have that kind of a fan base, Adam. People love you.
Maybe people love you too.
Not as much.
I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, you could see it. You could see it. People swoon over you.
Oh, did you watch the latest episode of Ted Lasso? Episode 8, the one that dropped Wednesday midnight.
No, I did not.
Oh, there was a fish reference early in the show.
Was there really?
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness for that. That gives me something to watch tonight then. Because wait a minute. The one that are you talking about? The one that just dropped like this tonight, last night? I mean,
yeah,
yeah. No, I didn't see that one.
Okay,
I gotta catch up. That happened to me. I was talking to Shan Blunt and Josh Wagner, producers over at SiriusXM. Shan, who edits this podcast, can confirm it. And if you want to confirm it here yourself there, Shan, shove a comment in here and we're okay with that. But they were sitting there and they were like, is everybody current on Ted Lasso? And I thought I was, and I wasn't. And they started talking about, him hanging out with his son and the wife and Paris. And I was like, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, where's the, and because I had sworn that I had just caught up, but apparently I was like 2 weeks behind. I don't know what the hell happened to me there, but yeah. All right. Fish reference in Ted Lasso. I bet it has something to do with drugs, doesn't it?
No.
Okay.
You'll see what it is.
I will see.
It's early. I think it's like right at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, good. Because, I have a hard time just sitting through the entire episode.
Yeah, I know.
My wife thinks I'm fucking nuts because I'll watch Ted Lasso and then she'll be like, all right, I'm going to go and get ready for bed. And she'll like go and wash up and shit like that. And I'm rewatching the episode like immediately afterwards.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a little nuts.
I want to see what I missed. You miss shit when you're like laughing and.
So pause.
What?
So pause it then and go back 10 seconds. Why do you have to rewatch it again?
Because it's that fucking good.
Okay. I mean, it is a good show. I like it.
All right. In any event, that's what's going to do it for us here on the show. Big thank you to everybody out there for liking, subscribing, share the podcast with other people. Absolutely. We hit you with the fantasy. We hit you with the betting. Let's go. Spread the word. You'll be happy that you did. We'll be happy that you did. And then and we'll get back to you guys on this charity marathon podcast that Adam wants to do. I'd like to know what charity you're going to play for, though, Adam. Like that's going to be a
I know what you are going to do. You're going to do something related to dogs.
I'll always do something related to animals, but
right.
I mean, listen, I think we can find a happy medium. We could do multiple charities, or we could just do one charity and just kind of, do it that way. But I'm curious as to where you're going to go with it. I have an idea of where you're going to go with it, but I'm going to let you tell me what charity you want to donate to.
Man, this is so funny. We just talked about the odds to win the NL East. They're showing them right now on MLB Network.
Oh.
They're listening to our podcast. They tapped into our computers and they're taking our info.
Tapped in. They've hacked into like my webcam and shit.
Yeah. So what is the charity you think I'm gonna do?
You know what? I'm gonna save that for another time. We're gonna leave that as a cliffhanger here for everybody.
The tease for next week.
The tease for next week. Find out what charity Adam Ronis wants to donate to as we set up a charity podathon with me and Adam. How long do you guys think we should go? 10 hours, 12 hours, 24? You tell us. It's just a matter of that and how much you're going to willing to donate to have that happen. But in any event, we're out of here. Best of luck to everybody out there. Waiver wire action. Adam's got the articles over at fantasyalarm.com coming out this weekend. I got some best bet stuff coming out here over the next couple of days as well. It's Johnny Empanada's wedding though. So, I'll be chilling with that. I'll tell you all about John and Pemba's wedding next week on the podcast.
Did you call him Empanada because someone referred to him as that?
Yeah, Alan Seslowski from RotoWire.
They told me that recently. I was fucking dying when I heard that shit.
I thought it was hysterical. I immediately hit up John and I was like, "Are you going to be serving empanadas at your wedding?"
Oh, that is great. How do you see Mpemba and go empanada?
I don't know half the shit that goes into the mind of Alan Seslowski. I love that fucking dude, but that dude's cray-cray. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next time. How about that? I'll just get the fuck off this podcast. We love y'all. Peace.